Okay, here's a short video for Roman. I noticed a couple of things in the opening. When your opponent played d4, you answered d5. And when they played c4, you answered knight f6. Now, this is actually a mistake, I think. And I think the reason people make this mistake is because it's very similar to this position in their mind. So it's similar to this. And then they feel that the structure with the pawn out and the knight defending the pawn is a rather good one. Okay, there's a big difference though when you play queen pawn. And that difference is that the pawn is capturing the pawn on d5. So as you notice, I did a slightly different order of moves this time, but we reached the same position. Okay, here white gets an advantage with the very simple move cd5. Let's look at a couple of choices. The most common would be to capture back with the knight. And this position has actually been played at the master level a couple of times. And the statistics are rather heavily weighted in white's favor. White wins well more than his normal share of winning when black plays knight takes d5. The reason is there's a couple of strong moves here. Knight f3 actually scores the highest as far as statistics. But the very simple e4 is also strong. Because you'll see here, black does not really have a good option. For example, if he plays knight f6, then white just controls the center. And black will actually have a very hard time developing his pieces. The play might go something like this. Knight c3. And now you can already see that black doesn't really have a good move. For example, if he plays e6 and white just plays knight f3, white has the ideal position in the center. Okay? So, you can't hamstring yourself by playing d5, knight f6, or knight f6, d5. That's one of the reasons, actually, I like to teach new players the Queen's Gambit, is because there's a lot of mistakes that black can make. More mistakes, I feel, than in an e4, e5 opening. It also has the advantage of not being seen as often by players who are new to chess. Okay, so let's look at what you should do here. After c4, the most common moves now for black, and that are played at the very highest level by the very best players, are either c6, going into some sort of Slav structure, or e6. Now, both these moves, you notice, support the pawn on d5 with another pawn. Okay, so that's kind of a key point that you need to take a look at. So don't play d5, knight f6, or knight f6, d5 when the opponent has opened with d4 and c4. Okay? Big mistake. You just give them a better game. Okay, here's one other thing that I thought I should mention here.